Here with basketball legend Andrew Gaze, and proprietor of Gaze TV YouTube channel. Andy, wanted to ask you about the Basketball Australia on the board, and I guess you've been putting in a lot of hard yards trying to put something together for next season.
It's been a difficult few months, I think, with what's happening with the NBL, with the whole reform process, and of course recently with the Sydney Spirit and now the Cairns Taipans getting into some financial difficulties. It's presented a lot of problems, but I'm very confident in the future. I think that this process that we're going through and the ideas that are coming through and how we can change some things and obviously change them for the better, I'm very confident that there's a bright future ahead, and the elite level competitions, not only for the NBL but also for the WNBL, I think can turn into something very special.
There was an announcement today that soccer in Australia have been given $45 million to have a crack at trying to bring the World Cup to Australia. Being in the position you're in at the moment, do you think, oh geez, I'd like a few of those dollars if they fall off the table, soccer boys? Or is there a way that your group is looking at going to the government to look at getting that sort of assistance from them? Or?
Absolutely. I mean, the sport gets some assistance from the government as we speak, so there already are some funding coming from there, but when you compare us to other sports, there's a very strong claim and a good argument that can be put forward to why we deserve more. And I think that take nothing away from soccer, I think it's fantastic, and it'd be great to have the World Cup here in Australia, and in order for that to happen you've got to invest. So there's not as if we're begrudging soccer any of the money that they're getting, but just I think that our game needs a bit of a hand at the moment, particularly at the elite level, and if we can continue to have an elite level competition and what that does for the grassroots and promotes the sport, it's critical for the game to continue to grow. So there's a lot of different things that we're exploring and how we can make things better and generate revenues for all levels of competition. And like I said, with this new organisation that's come together and the ideas that we're going through right now, I think that there's some real positive signs out there. Albeit now with the Sydney Spirit and the Cairns Taipans, it doesn't help the perception at all, but the reality of it is the game is not in as bad a shape as what it would appear.
What do you think that is, being in the media side of things now with Fox? Like, it's almost like you don't pick up a Melbourne or a Sydney paper without it being all bad press. Like, how do we get that message across to the general Joe public out there that Australia is actually the second best basketball nation in Australia? The second best basketball nation in the world according to FIBA.
Well, that's right, and I think that there's a lot of good stories to tell out there, but you can't dispute the facts that what's happening at the elite level has a profound impact on the perception of the game, and when you've got teams going under and teams going into administration, it does present some huge problems. So there is definitely some issues that need to be addressed, and I think that they've been recognised not only by the new board but also by the stakeholders, be it the state associations, the clubs, at every level. There's a clear understanding that we need to make some changes. So I think that if we can get those changes on board and we can introduce a new look about how our elite level competitions can be successful, then I think that you can turn things around fairly quickly. But there's a lot of work to be done, and plenty of issues to go through. But from where I stand and the information that I get, that there's still some very good positive things happening within the game.
Is there any truth to the rumour that Andrew Vlahov is looking at being the anointed one because he's got a bit of an underbelly swagger about him, and if anyone doesn't look like coming up with the cash, he can knock on a few doors? And
well, he would present good as a bit of a hitman, but no, I think Andrew Vlahov is a very intelligent man. He's done some great things in Perth, and I think that he's got a lot to offer the game. And I'm not too sure what individually he would like to do and how he would want to contribute. But there's no doubt that there's going to be a role for him in some capacity, be it locally in Perth or more on a national stage. And I think his knowledge and experience is invaluable. And I would encourage him to try and be as proactive as he can to get involved, because he's got a good mind and he's got plenty of experience.
The last question I want to ask you about filling the big shoes of John Casey, so it seems. How do you find working with the 5-time NBL All-Star, Hall of Famer Steve Carfino? It's different, I think we've learned a lot, both Steve and I. We talk about it, and
John Casey's taught us a lot, and he's gone up to the big boys now in the AFL, and he's doing a fantastic job at that. And I think that you know, his contribution to basketball has been enormous as well. So it is big shoes to fill, but that's more Steve's role. Steve's the one that's got to fill those shoes of John Casey, and I'm trying to, you know, become the new Steve Carfino.
Exactly, which, you know, there's a few challenges there, I guess.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Cheers, Andrew. Thanks for your time.
No problem.